rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mirabel. Clark.
Here.
Hodge.
Here.
Jacobs. Here. Kirby.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here. Excellent, thank you. Let's go ahead and approve the order of business. Any additions, corrections? Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And any declaration of conflicts of interest? Any conflicts? Yes. All right. And onto the consent agenda. There's a lot of items on here, all moved through committees. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. All right. Excellent. Skip all the way to the third page. That was a long one. All right. Number 7, items for visitors. We'll go through a proclamation. We have events of volunteers from the RSVP, and we'll just April 4th, 2014 will be proclaimed as National Service Recognition Day. I'll go ahead and read the proclamation for Mayor Vogt here. Whereas the Corporation for National and Community Service shares a priority with mayors nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities across the county, to recognize the impact of service on the Mayor's Recognition Day for National Service on April 4th, 2017. And whereas for over 15 years, the Black Hills Foster Grandparent Program connected people 55 and older to volunteer opportunities with children. Foster grandparents assisted children in the areas of literacy, cultural practices, cognitive development, and more. Individualized tutoring, mentoring, and nurturing provided by foster grandparents helped thousands of struggling children achieve great academic, social, and emotional gains. And whereas the Black Hills Senior Companion Program provides healthy older adults part-time stipendary opportunities to render supportive assistance to individuals requiring assistance completing various daily tasks necessary to maintaining independence, such as grocery shopping, meal preparation, light housekeeping, and providing transportation to doctor's appointments. And whereas the Black Hills State University Retired Senior Volunteer Program engages people ages 55 and older in a diverse range of service activities such as tutoring and mentoring, elderly meal delivery, food bank and congregate meal assistance, entertainment, services to hospitals, nursing homes, blood banks, and veterans organized in a wide variety of volunteer activities throughout Spearfish nonprofit. And whereas the AmeriCorps VISTA program supports community efforts to overcome poverty by recruiting and managing community volunteers, raising funds, and helping to manage a variety of projects such as development of urban gardens, development of volunteer plans for local nonprofits, and the development of marketing strategies for local nonprofits, thereby providing better services to low-income individuals and communities. And whereas last year in Spearfish area, these programs provided volunteer opportunities for citizens totaling approximately 26,642 hours of service to the community at large. Now therefore, I, Dan Hodge, on behalf of Mayor Dana Vogt, Mayor of the City of Spearfish, do hereby proclaim April 4th, 2017 as National Service Recognition Day. Have you guys come up? We'll take a picture. Anybody who wants to be in that?
Yep.
Getting way out of the way. Is that better?
You'll need this. Here, why don't you just, here, we got it.
All right. And we'll move on to 2016 annual report or departmental presentations. And we'll start with Jody.
Hi, I'm Jody Friedel, Human Resource Director for the city. The city of Spearfish has 140 employees to serve the residents and visitors of Spearfish. Recruitment is a large part of my position. In 2016, I recruited to fill 44 regular positions. Of these 44 positions, 11 were filled internally with lateral transfers, seasonal employees moving to regular positions or promotions. 33 were hires from outside the city. The city filled 106 temporary seasonal positions to support the Rec and Aquatic Center, Public Works Department, Parks, Campground, Rally, police officers, fire department, and various internships throughout the city. In 2016, 4 new positions were added. Facility maintenance superintendent was actually approved in 2015 but not filled until March of 2016. The fire chief was approved in January of 2016 and filled in June of 2016. Assistant fire chief was approved in July of 2016 and filled in December of 2016. And the fire department administrative assistant was approved in July of 2016 and filled in August. 2016 turnover was 20%, down from 24% in 2015. The national total turnover rate is 18.1% for all industries. The city had 5 long-term employees retire in 2016. They were Tom Calloway, our environmental services manager with 34 years of service, Keith Hepper, our Parks, Rec, and Forestry superintendent with 30 years of service, Howard Jacobs, our rubble site attendant with 20 years of service, Tim Robeson, water, wastewater, utility foreman, he had 26 years of service, and Harley Verholst was a street technician with 30 years of service. In the annual report, the 2015 Years of Service Awards and the 2016 Hall of Fame inductees are also honored. Under the insurance category in my report, it outlines how Avera Insurance was selected as the city's health insurance provider for the 2nd year. Avera's rates for 2017 showed an increase over 2016's rates from 6.5 to 9% of an increase depending on the plan and coverage level. Due to this increase, the city's health insurance allotment was increased to $525 per month over the previous $480. The city has 101 health insurance benefit eligible employees, of which 96 are covered under the city's health insurance plans. 79 employee policies, 10 employee and spouse policies, 6 family policies, and 1 employee and children policy. 5 employees waive the health insurance benefit. Retirees who retire from the city and are eligible for public employee retirement benefits may elect to maintain the health, dental, and vision insurance plans until they reach age 65 or otherwise qualify to enroll in the Medicare program. Retirees do pay 100% of all premium costs for the retiree and their dependents. We currently have 5 retirees who are enrolled in the city's health insurance benefits. My annual report also includes the city's current benefit brochure. Workers' compensation in 2016, we had 36 claims, of which 18 were $0 claims. 2015, we had 31 claims and 17 were $0 claims. The city's 3-year loss ratio is 51.97 for 2016. The years used to calculate this loss ratio was 2013 through 2015, and a recommended loss ratio is 60%. 2013 was an incredible year with a 9.1% loss ratio. 2014 was 44.35, and 2015 was not a good year with a very large claim, and our loss ratio was 102.46. When 2013 falls off our equation, we will have 3 years with higher costs in workers' compensation until the 2015 year is off the calculation period. So for those years, we'll be paying higher workers' compensation premiums. In 2016, the fund modifier was 0.93, which means we were saving 7% in workers' compensation claims. In 2017, it has been set at 1.06, so we'll be paying 6% higher with overall a 13% increase. The city's safety manual and safety program was completely revised in 2016. Each department is responsible for providing department-specific training and making sure their department is in compliance with the safety programs within the city. And then we also the city every year does some staff development training. In 2016, we did hire Leah Braun from Harding Business Group, and she provided 3 training sessions, which included Bridging Generations, Communication 101, and Media Relations training. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jody. All right, Chief Clerk. Do the police department report.
Will you be Urbana?
I'm going to do things probably a little different. I'm going to just go through my report and highlight for you what you can expect to see in it, and let you go through the report yourself and look at it as to what it says. Our mission statement is the first thing you'll see in our report, something that our guys actually very much know and live by down there. First thing you're going to see on the first page and second couple of pages of our report is our organizational chart. It's going to show you basically what the organization looks like and what our chain of command is. We also include all of our current staff pictures, so you can put faces with the names. I know we sometimes will move along in the year and have people that you never really actually met or got to know. The next page of our report, you'll find a little bit of information on sworn officer, age, and gender diversity. Just to show how well balanced our department is. Also on that page, you'll find some of our staff assigned services and programs. These are things that we do or assign well outside of what would be normal police enforcement or officer duties. It's quite an extensive list. On the next page, what you're going to see is a description of 3 of the major things that we undertook as far as advancing technology and some other things within the department. One of them was the upgrade of our training room. Another was a staff and it's actually statewide training curriculum developed by one of our officers on certain aspects of drug enforcement. And the last was our steps in moving toward next generation 911. The final page of our report, you'll see a total of our officer training and a nice compilation of our budgets from 2013 through 2016 and a comparison of whether those have increased or decreased. They don't decrease. And a total of our training that we've done for the year, which of course the highlight last year was Lieutenant Dean attending the FBI Academy. So that's a good overview of our department for the year. The one piece that's missing that we will get back in there next year is we traditionally will do a data set of our calls for service or our incidents, and we'll do a comparison year to year. We haven't been able to do that the last 2 years because we switched software in the middle of 2015. So we don't have 2 good years to compare to. By next year's report, we will have 2 good years to build that piece back into our annual report. So, thank you.
Thank you, Pat. And Chief Sahara will present the fire department report. Okay, good evening, Mark Sahara, the fire chief. And in a nutshell, the fire department can be characterized this year with
a year of extreme change. I got here in June as a result of a process of the city taking over administration of the fire department in January of the year. And it was significant for the department and significant for Spearfish. The department, 135 years old, and this was the first time that we went to having paid employees. So I arrived on June 6th, and on December 12th, we hired the assistant chief. I can't remember Chris's start date, but we hired in August, I believe, an administrative assistant. So we now have 3 employees. It made a huge difference in what could be accomplished by the fire department. And there's some information in the plan that talks a little more in detail about that. In the plan, a little thing, but she didn't have it on these slides, but it is in the plan. We have rolled out a new logo that reflects the City of Spearfish Fire Department. And on these next 2 slides, just briefly, what I'm going to talk about is the firefighters. At the time of the annual report, we were fluctuating between 50 and 55. We currently have now reached 60. The volunteers, it's always a bit of transition with some coming, some going. It was late in the year, in December, that we picked up 10 new, actually I guess it was the last 2 months of the year, we picked up 10 new firefighters. And with the arrival of the new, assistant chief, then those 10 new firefighters were immediately started a certification academy in January. Go ahead to the next one. So, the YLM program has been a real strong point of the department, and they went to numerous fires in the hills, culminated really with Crow Peak. Late in the year, traveled over to Wall for that significant fire that you may have heard about. It was like 65,000 acres. That wildland response outside of our city is actually an income generator for the fire department and the city, and we generated a little over $46,000. So alluded to training earlier with the number of new volunteers, and last year they put in about 1,750 hours of training. And some of the volunteers averaged around 40 hours. We had a few that were 50 plus, and then we had 6 that were over 100 hours. One was 180 hours, and then the volunteers that were assisting with providing training prior to the arrival of the assistant chief, who is now directly in charge of that. But those 5 trainers who had previously been training the department before I got here, they were at 249 hours apiece. So pretty amazing amount of commitment to the department and ultimately to the community. Of the firefighters at the time of the annual report, 23 were certified as wildland firefighters, 31 were certified as structure firefighters, and 4 had received their certification in 2016, with 10 enrolled at the time late in the year, very late. The next thing is the fire prevention. Annually, the department holds a fire prevention day for the community so they can bring families and children down to the station. We have a variety of fire games, I guess, if you will. They can shoot a hose stream and try to hit a little window. They can, actually, we have them grab the fire extinguisher and they can discharge the fire extinguisher with supervision. They were able to watch a car getting cut up with the Jaws of Life tool. So it's kind of a learning experience as well as fun. So we had about 200 children and adults attend that event. Along with that, during October, typically we hear about October, we have a fire prevention week nationally, but it's morphed into really all of October is considered fire prevention month. And during October, some of the volunteers assist with educating the children in the community by going to the schools. And we had 22 volunteers that participated in that. And at the various elementary schools, we were able to reach approximately 950 students. Want to give a little credit to our federal partners because at the Fire Prevention Day, Smokey the Bear always comes down to help out, and that's a big hit. Lastly is recruitment. It's one of the most important things that can happen at a volunteer fire department outside of response. And so we developed a brochure. There's, I'm sure, some down in the lobby here, along with a little poster to advertise ourselves, and that has been very successful. We had some of our newer volunteers take it to coffee shops and restaurants that they frequent, excuse me, and almost immediately we got a response. As new as I am to the community, I wouldn't have known what are the hot spots to post stuff like that. So that was a big deal for some of our new members, younger members, to know where they could reach folks that would be interested in volunteering. And some of the pictures that are on this presentation are not in the plan. Chris put some things in there to just show the type of training that they've most recently been able to go to. And that's about all I have.
Thank you, Chief. All right, at this time, after the unfortunate events of Saturday morning, the tragic loss, we just wanted, I know, spoke to a couple council members. We just wanted to share our condolences and for the loss of some of the families sustained. And we just would like to observe a moment of silence on behalf of those families. So if you remove your hats and for a moment here. Definitely a thank you to all the firefighters that were responded to that, and appreciate that, Chief. All right, onward and upward. On to human resources and request approval of the city administrator position description and authorization to begin recruitment efforts to fill the position. Jody?
I don't have anything else, just requesting authorization to approve the position description, and then we will start getting the information out there tomorrow. And then as soon as I do have the information out, I will email you all to let you know where it's been posted. And if you have any additional thoughts, you can always move beyond what I have a list started, but beyond what my list is.
Move to approve.
Second.
First and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And on to public hearings. Public hearing to consider an application from Ava Souter with Matthews Opera House and Arts Center for a special malt beverage license for the festival in the park on July 14th through the 16th from 4 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at the city park.
This has been an annual event for many years for the festival in the park, and just getting an early start on it this year to get approval for the special license.
All right, at this time, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for any of those wishing to speak. Go ahead and go up to the podium and state your name. All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2017-11, annual sidewalk encroachment permit fee.
This is a fee, as you recall, last year council approved to allow establishments to serve alcohol on the sidewalk abutting their property. A policy was put in place and an application was created, and now it's time to establish a fee, a permit application fee, to cover some of the administrative costs for processing that application.
Okay. Just maybe some preliminary discussion before motion, but
Sure.
I really think we need to readdress the amount. Was there a point at which there was an initial fee that was discussed and maybe an annual fee thereafter? I don't have his background on it.
Well, it just came down to this would be an annual fee.
This is the annual fee, not the
Yes.
initial.
Yeah. And there is no initial fee.
Okay.
I know at one point we had discussed doing a several $100 initial assessment of will this work for the location and all that, and then just having an annual renewal after that point. So somebody like the Stadium Bailey that currently has something would fall into the renewal category of the lesser fee, but somebody new would have a much larger fee that would cover the cost of site visits and everything else. Now, I understand this would also work for other deals, like, because it's strictly an encroachment fee, but do we really, $50 really isn't a lot for somebody to come up with a plan, the city to review it, in order to establish a new business that wanted to put sidewalks or put seating out and stuff. $50 just ain't gonna do that.
Chief, I have a question for you. How often do I think you're going to need to go and check the sites? Chief Rowe, excuse me.
I guess from, at least from the police department's perspective, our biggest thing is going to be probably alcoholic beverage type of encroachments. We're not, I think that the city as a whole, whether that's streets, us, whoever, are going to probably address on case-by-case issues where they are having boundary issues, standing into that right away that they weren't supposed to, but I would tell you it's going to be case-by-case. It's a small area we're dealing with. We're going to notice the things that are going on in an area where they're not supposed to be, and probably dealing with on a case-by-case basis. I'm not stressed that we're going to have to do tons of inspections. As required by this, we may have to, but I think it's going to end up police on itself. If we see it, we'll address it.
Didn't we have a review period of this for 1 year? Weren't we going to come back to this? We have sunset built into that, if I recall, and we did not.
Not built in.
But didn't we talk about coming back to business in a year?
Anytime.
Yeah. So I would just propose, I understand that the fees maybe be a little bit short, but to get this off the ground, maybe we can just try to go with it for now. We didn't really talk about a fair number, and I'm not sure where that's at. But I would just ask for consideration that maybe we just get going with this.
And if it ends up there, and we end up coming back next year and going, wow, we dumped a lot more time into that than we thought, we'll let you know that.
Yeah. This could just be our basis to start, and if we feel like we need to up it, we could do it at that time. We just get a summary to it, see what it looks like.
I agree, John. I think we start someplace and then get the statistics next year. If we need to amend it, we can. And I agree that this is a good place to start.
Is that a motion?
It is.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
It's way low, so beware for the next time it gets addressed.
I what's high or what's low, I mean, we don't know.
Well, $50 is nothing, and I see Cheryl over
I
there.
can tell you that as I researched different cities to find foundation for how I put our application together, yes, our fee is on the very narrow range. I was not aware that there was maybe some other discussion about how you wanted to incorporate new licenses versus or renewals on that. But what I found in my research is that they typically ranged anywhere from $100 to $500.
Exactly.
Well, I'm still content with the motion in the second for this time, and we can circle back.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Go ahead.
I'm okay with it. I guess I was looking out for the time that you guys are going to have involved in it. I just wanted to make sure that was
And, I'm just speaking to my side of it. The nice thing about my department is we're out there all the time looking at that, those buildings and those sidewalks and people that are down there, so we're gonna notice the issues. I can't speak for, whether or not they got to put a lot of time in going and measuring and signage and whatever else, what other rules might end up in there, so.
In the application, we also developed the policies and the standards for how these can be set up, and we provided the requirements and the dimensions, and we put a lot of the burden on the owner themselves to provide us that information, the size of their tables, the measurements between distances. Once that application is submitted back to us, we'll just go back out and verify that what they submitted is correct. So I only anticipate one site visit from my staff, unless we start to get code complaints of not enough room to access around or garbage or something like that. So we tried to put, like I said, the burden on that applicant so that they're responsible for designing their site, not us.
It's just a starting point.
Yep.
And if we find from our leadership over there that we have a problem, then we can address it to a higher level.
I agree.
All right, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? All right, motion carries. All right, on to bids and proposals. Request to award the qualified low bid for the wood stave penstock replacement project to RC Construction with a low bid of $699,534.23. 6 bids were received. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Yeah, this is one of our major projects that's going to happen this summer. This replaces a 100-year-old plus piece of redwood stave pipe. Our engineer's estimate came in at a little bit over $1 million on this project, so we're very happy to see our bids come in much lower than that. Our 3 lowest bidders all met the qualifications we needed for how to install this pipe. This is 48-inch PVC pipe. It is heat welded together, so it has a fusion process to it. Requires special equipment, specially trained installers, and so we had some very tight specifications in our bid documents that allowed us to verify that. The bids were reviewed by our design engineers, and those qualifications were verified by them. So we would recommend that we proceed and award the project. We have a very long lead time on the production of this pipe. This pipe is not on the stock shelf ready, a 48-inch diameter. We're 14 to 16 weeks out for delivery time. So this project was really scheduled to take place late fall. We will be doing excavation work ahead of that and have basically the trench ready to go. They'll assemble this pipe alongside the old pipe, and that will remain in operation. So our downtime for the tie-in will be, we're hoping, within a couple, 3 weeks, preferably on the smaller end. A lot of coordination goes into the project with DNR, Game Fish and Parks, and working with how we divert the flow away from the tunnel. So I think we're all prepared to go, and we anticipate a completion date by the end of November.
Move to approve.
Second. All right, okay. First and a second. Any further discussion?
Cheryl, we're okay. We have contingencies built into this if there's problems.
contingencies for monies? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have 1.2 million budgeted for this project.
Okay, just, you know, you never know what's gonna pop up, you start digging up rock.
Well, yeah, we did a lot of boring, soil sampling in the location of the new alignment where the new line will be installed, so, and there are some tree removal along with this, and so a lot of that work will take place early, but a lot of that was looked at prior to our design, so fingers
Very-
crossed. But yes, it's like remodeling an old house, I never quite know. but-
Very good. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. All right, 2017 pavement marking, award bid to Black Hills Asphalt with a low bid of $16,706. 4 bids were received. Go ahead, Bo.
Yes, we did receive 4 bids. The 2 low bids were within $200, so they were very close bids. We are satisfied with the bids that we got, and we would like to get this accepted so we can get them on schedule to get going as soon as we can, as soon as the weather turns.
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, the same. Motion carries. All right, 2017 pavement striping, award bid to Dakota Barricade with a low bid of $26,516, and 3 bids were received.
And this is our main line striping. This is the long line that they do with the truck. And we again received 3 bids on this. We were very satisfied. They were all close bids within a few $1,000s of each other. And Dakota Barricade did our project 2 years ago. They do good work, and they're local, fairly local. They're Rapid City contractors, so they do a lot of work in this area. We'd like to move forward with
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you both. All right, and request authorization to transfer, move on to finance here. Sorry, Dave.
Just want me to go?
No, that's all right, I'll go. Request authorization to transfer $623,359 from 201 Second Penny Sales Tax Fund to 606 Airport Fund for final debt payment of the Carlstrom land property for purchase.
This is a budgeted item, and that payment has already been made, and this is the administrative approval in order to do the fund transfer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we got a lot with you tonight, Dave. Request authorization to transfer $100,000 from 604 Sewer Fund to 201 Second Penny Sales Tax Fund.
This is a transfer to begin paying back the $3 million that we did an internal loan from Second Penny to the sewer fund, and to slowly have them. It's an interest-free loan, but we're starting to. The sewer fund has been stabilized now since Ramsdale is complete, so we feel it's prudent to start transferring some of that money back on an annual budgeted basis.
Is there a
Move to
motion?
approve.
Second. Any discussion?
With the $3 million loan, paying it $100,000, is there a way we can do more to that, or?
I think for rate stability, we're starting at 100,000, and we'll take it based upon our forecasting of the fund. We still have an anticipated rate increase coming for next year, so this was a start.
Okay, very good, thank you.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And request authorization to transfer $25,000 from general fund to 201 historic procurement fund as authorized in 2017 budget. Go ahead, Dave.
This is an annual budgeted transfer. When that historical procurement fund was established, this was the method of funding that fund. And we have received in 2016, we received the gaming revenues, and we received $202,000 and change this year, which was approximately $5,000 more than we received last year.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And request authorization to make the following PILT, payment in lieu of tax transfers, as budgeted in the 2017 appropriations ordinance. And I'm going to let you go through that, unless you want me to. I should
Nope,
be
that's
okay.
fine. We're moving, this is an annual budgeted transfer, and the payment in lieu of taxes is to help fund the general fund for the value of the property that our enterprise funds own. And our enterprise funds are, of course, funds of the city for water, sewer, parking, wastewater, as well as our solid waste and campground. And so we've calculated and created a formula for the values that's adjusted every year of that property, and we put a proportionate amount from each one of those values into the general fund as if those enterprise funds were paying taxes. And it's listed there. Water fund is $108,753. Our hydroelectric is $5,947. Sewer department is $93,982. Wastewater treatment is $32,334. Our parking fund, $138. Solid waste fund, $14,057. Campground fund, $5,689. And these are budgeted.
Is there a motion? Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you. And request authorization for Cadel Thorstensen LLP to conduct the annual audit of 2016 financial statements for the city of Spearfish. Cost is estimated not to exceed $40,000. Go ahead, Dave.
And Cadel has been performing our annual audits since 2004. They're very familiar with all of our funds and processes within the city. So therefore, it takes, we don't have to retrain every year if we would be changing auditors. They've done a very good job for us, so we recommend that we engage them for our 2016 audit.
The reason for the increase is because of the fire department, is that correct?
Yes, the Volunteer Fire Association is considered a component unit, and so therefore we have to have additional auditing of that association.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
All right, on to the fire department. I request authorization to purchase Amcus cutters, the cutting tool for hydraulic extrication system, from Field Fire for $6,180, and funding will be from the second penny. Go ahead, Mark, Chief.
This is the cutters that most people refer to as the jaws of life. There's actually spreaders and cutters, but the cutters, we maintain two sets of these tools. There's a very modern new set on Rescue 5 that was purchased in 2015, and then Engine 2 at the Station 2 on the east side of town has a set of cutters. And the reason for the two sets, one is speed of getting to the call, so there's a set really on both sides of town, depending where we might have to go on the interstate. Also, if the set were to go down, then we've got backup. And then certainly if we had a situation where we needed more than one at a complicated scene, or if, as does happen, you know, they go up the canyon or somewhere out further to a call, and then we were to have a second call. So there's the need for the two sets, And the issue with the cutters that are on engine 2 right now is that's the oldest set. And they're rated at 60,000 PSI cutting force. And modern steel in our new cars, it's so hard that it needs something much stronger to cut. But the new cutters on Rescue 5 are rated at 220,000 PSI. And in the 200,000 range is what really is needed for modern, the door posts. It's a boron steel product and it's very, very difficult to cut. And what really brought it to light was an accident a few months back at Colorado and Highway 85. Engine 2 was first on scene and could not get through the steel on this vehicle. Rescue 5 was already en route, just it's typical in case we need shoring and that type of equipment. But in this case, it pointed out the need that needed a more suitable cutter. So as far as funding, I was brand new during the process and had no feel for capital needs when this 2017 budget was really developed. And 150,000 was earmarked into capital. We had, I believe, 36,000 for backup generators. That was the only items that were earmarked. And so there is the capital money in our budget. But was this specifically identified? No. But there will be a number of things that will be soon coming before you that will need to be purchased out of second penny that we just hadn't identified. I had no feel for the capital needs of the department at that time.
Move to approve.
Second. This is definitely an improvement to the department. It helps protect the citizens, without a doubt.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And request authorization to submit grant application to Firefighter Behavioral Health Alliance. Funds will be used to provide behavioral health training for fire department personnel, and there are no cost to the city.
So a little explanation on this one. And we were made aware of this organization called Firefighter Behavioral Health Alliance. Assistant Chief Mathis actually personally knows the individual that is in charge of this organization, and that came to be because of his involvement with a department member who committed suicide. The suicide rate among first responders, which includes fire and police, medical, is through the roof right now, and it has been in the United States. Events such as the tragedy we had this weekend, seeing victims of auto accidents, or even personal situations, whether it's a personal tragedy or firefighters going through their own personal struggle, say for marital reasons, alcohol abuse, or any of those types of things, are sometimes difficult for them to handle and are pushing them over the edge. So that's why when Rob was made aware that this group would be willing to come out, they'll travel anywhere in the nation actually, but he found out about it and asked them if they'd be willing to come here. And there's no cost. The reason it had to come before council is because technically it's a grant. The organization is the one who has achieved getting the grant with federal dollars. But their mandate with those federal dollars, the reason they got them is to provide training throughout the country for first responders. So their requirement is that we have a minimum class size. They ask for 30. We think we'll be able to get that by reaching out to the other fire departments in the area and folks at the ambulance if they would like to attend. But we're pretty sure that if we only muster 20 that they'll still come, and that's because of Rob's connection with these folks. So that's why it's here before you, is that it is a grant, and policy says the grants need to come to council.
Chief, with your comment,
You indicated firefighters as well as police officers. Is this something, Chief Roder, that would be an asset to your department, or is it something that you already do?
Yes and yes. We do internal training of this nature, but absolutely this is something, if they have openings and we have people available, we would send people to.
So once we get a date, then we can just make that, everyone aware of it and see what the response is.
Very good, thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, request authorization to apply for VFA grant to purchase wildland equipment and PPE. This grant is available through South Dakota State Forestry and will be for $8,000. This is an annual funding opportunity and is time sensitive with submission due April 30th. Each year, this funding opportunity provides fire departments the means to prepare for our upcoming wildfire season.
That pretty well explains it. Again, there's needs here that became evident the more I got into the job here, and then also with the number of new volunteers that we have. So we need a number of items ranging from just their protective gear to training items, which consist of it's the practice fire shelter, it's the tent that they get into in a last minute emergency, but they need to practice, and the only way we can practice is with practice shelters, and they're a little pricey, and right now we don't have any. We had training last week, and Sturgis guys were in the class. They were good enough to bring some from over there, but it's something we should have. There's then a lot of brass fitting needs for hoses and nozzles and things like that. So the way I see it is these are needs we have. This is an opportunity to basically get a half price sale. It's a 50-50 grant, so our match is going to be $4,000. Some of the durable goods will come from Second Penny. I've spoken with Dave, even though singularly none of them are like high dollar items, they're going to be things we're going to have, fitting's not going to wear out unless it gets run over. Some of the other stuff like the clothing that isn't going to necessarily last a long time, we've got the capability in the current operational budget to handle it. So there'll be kind of a mixed match of some stuff coming from Second Penny and the rest coming from our normal operating budget.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
So I'd like to just thank council for approving all three of these.
Thank you, Chief. On to Public Works, request authorization for Mayor Boak to sign design contract agreement with SDDOT to hire HDR Engineering for $81,513.53 to complete the final design of Acorn Ridge Road Bridge Replacement Project. Project is part of the SDDOT Bridge Replacement Program, and city is responsible for 20% of the cost.
And this is a project we've been working on, at least for the last couple of years, in preliminary design and evaluating flows. The Acorn Ridge Bridge has been on the replacement list for a number of years now. I think it's probably was on the list prior to it transferring from the county over to the city. We are in line now for funding for construction of that bridge in 2018, so we need to move forward with the final design, and that's what this contract will allow us to do. We anticipate some of the construction will start yet this year, and it will be completed by the end of 2018. So we have this money budgeted in our capital, and we also have our construction funds identified for needs for next year as well, too, in Second Penny. So stay on track and move forward.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, request authorization for Mayor Boak to sign the dedication of acceptance of improvements agreement number 4-17 between City of Spearfish and Exit Speedy Mart.
I can take it. Real quick, this is the new sewer that was routed out from the Fairgrounds Loop. We're connected here on Fairgrounds Loop West. Went out to the west, made a turn at a manhole, runs across the frontage of this Speedy Mart location. They're about to divide this property, and so therefore we are trying to get the public improvements wrapped up. In addition to the sewer main, there is also a fire hydrant. So it's been inspected, and the staff is comfortable that it's ready for our ownership. Comes with a 2-year warranty.
Is there a motion? Move to approve. Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. And Gina, again, request approval for out-of-state travel for Gina Watson to attend the Pop Tech Conference in Camden, Maine, Tuesday, October 17th. Sorry.
I received a scholarship from the Bush Foundation to attend this. That's really the only reason that we would otherwise be able to afford it. And this is a conference where it draws upon technology and popular culture to solve community development problems. It brings together people that normally would not talk to each other to solve community development problems. Bankers talking to planners, talking to artists, talking to local citizenry about how to come up with different ideas for community development. So.
All right.
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thanks, Gina. And approve the bill list dated April 3rd, 2017. Steve, do you have anything to add?
The big items on this bill list is a treatment plant bond payment, a pickup, and the Big Noel project.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And any mayor or council discussion items? I guess not mayor for sure. Any other council discussion items? All right. I'll go to departmental. Gina, anything?
Nothing.
Okay, Dave?
Just a reminder that the District 10 meeting is in Whitewood on Thursday night, April 6th. I'll be on vacation on Friday, and just wanted to point out that the treasurer's report that you approved at the end of February, our cash balance for the city was $1.7 million more than it was a year ago at the same time.
Dave, how was the airport conference?
The airport conference was excellent. I learned a lot of the umbrella thing, so it'll make me better, help allow me to better understand the overall working relationships between all the different components of the airport. So, and I had a number of people tell me that it was the best conference that they've been to in 20 years. So they put together a good group of speakers, and they kept it moving right along, and it was good. And we were able to have the opportunity to get a second meeting with the FAA on Wednesday morning. And so we were able to make some progress there, I think, on our application. So that was positive.
Good to hear. And Eric?
I get you an executive session, that's it.
All right, perfect. Cheryl, anything else? Chief Roder? Anything?
Chief Sahara and I wanted to take a minute and kind of update you on the fire from this weekend.
Okay.
We'll do it jointly. The police department's role, other than assisting, this 100% is the fire department's incident. The police department's in a supporting role with it. One of the things we decided early on, they were still actively working at scenes, that we would assume the role of the public information officer side. Lieutenant Dean has taken that on for us. So the update I'll give you is really basically the same thing you could find out there in the public. But I'll probably add some additional comments as far as kind of what our personal observations were of our own staff and the people who've been handling it. Without going into a great amount of detail, we got the fire at about 4:30 on Saturday a.m. Very swift response by everyone involved. Fully involved residents when they got there. I think we both saw some really exemplary things from the first responders. I had a little bit of the luxury of being able to not be in the scene, but be at the scene doing some other things, and that affords you the opportunity to see what everybody else is doing. I saw some really, really fantastic things, all the way from dispatchers to firefighters on the front line, to medical, to public works staff that provided support roles as far as streets, helping us with barricades, water department ensuring things were running well. So very very exemplary response. As you know, as we worked through the incident, we determined that there were a number of children still in the home. They've since finalized the recovery there. We released the information today on those 5 children. We've had a very almost constant contact with the families as far as moving forward with it. The investigative side of it, really the leadership there rests with the fire department. At this point in time, they are relying heavily on the State Fire Marshal's office to be point as far as the investigation, but it's their incident. And everyone from our department to the Sheriff's Department, Division of Criminal Investigations, the Lawrence County Coroner's Office is providing investigative assistance in that role. Where that'll end up, we don't know. At this time, we're still undetermined. We're starting to get a better idea of location, but we're not at a point where we're beyond undetermined on the source. So, really, that's the investigation part in a nutshell. Kind of what happened in a nutshell. Don't have a ton more information for you outside of that. I can tell you we experienced very few issues operationally. I know we're going to go back and look at it. We're going to find that there are things we could do different. There are things we could do better. There were things that we did great and didn't realize we were doing at the time. Aftercare-wise, we provided to quite a few of the first responders what we would term if you use the term critical incident stress management, or cathartic services. We provided some diffusing options to some of our first responders immediately during and after this was going on, and we will continue to provide those types of services in a more in a wider scope to a lot of the first responders and auxiliary personnel that were there actually this week. We've got a fairly significant group gathering that we'll have that'll provide some of those services. So we'll be doing a lot of aftercare for our employees, for our volunteers, for all of the auxiliary people. Beyond that, there's not a lot to share. We're both probably kind of at the end of our rope a little bit as far as the last 3 days, but we'd be happy to try and fill in any blanks that we can for you if you have any questions that we can maybe answer for you. So.
And before we do questions, what I'd like to go into is just the cooperation between agencies, auxiliary, civilians, the community, it's been outstanding and today almost overwhelming in a good way. As a very long-term fire investigator, I had all intentions of playing a lead role with the 2 deputy state fire marshals. Soon realized that was not going to be able to happen. You know, as chief, I had responsibilities to, you know, sum the press, you know, joint press conference with Lieutenant Dean, and then we had a lot going on at the station with some of the family. They had gone to the hospital to be with their loved ones there. And some of them were told to come to the station, and not to forget Red Cross. They were there as well. And so then, you know, a decision was made that they were going to come there, so we were making arrangements for that. Right at the time, the fire marshal guys had arrived to start investigation, so just deferred to them was fine, but it speaks to the value of teamwork. We were able to rely on them. I got in there a little bit with them, and we discussed some things that we were seeing, and reached agreement on what we were seeing. But kind of kudos to our newly reformed auxiliary. It wasn't 2 weeks ago that we had a meeting with the Red Cross just on how to handle this type of situation, not this magnitude of tragedy, but just victims that, you know, lost their home. And because of that, things just went fabulously. Red Cross came out of Rapid, but we had enough direction from that meeting of what we needed to do ahead of time. And the auxiliary, there's you know, a total of 10 now. I think we might have had 6 or 8 of them show up early Saturday morning and help those families, helped immediately starting to get food, not just for the firefighters, but for the families. And then the firefighters' performance. I mean, this was the ultimate of them feeling, you know, the emotions of what they knew what was happening, but then some of them beating themselves up because they felt like they couldn't make a rescue. You know, we've assured them that there was nothing they could do. When we pulled up, it was also one of the fastest response times. I mean, it was like as if they had been at the station. Part of that was the ones that were on engine 1 all lived close to the station, and then of course the call wasn't that far from the station. So I think the engine got there in like 5.5 minutes, and that's like what you'd get from a station that was staffed 24/7. So that was amazing, and like Pat has said, the teamwork out there was phenomenal. We had a great response. Counting myself and Rob, we had 33 responders. That's like half the department. That's amazing. And then we had assistance from the sheriff's department. You know, it really surprised me, but maybe it's typical for here, but certainly not where I came from. But we had highway patrol, you know, officers come to assist the police and us. Just incredible response. And in the community today, the donations we're receiving, it's just amazing.
That's something that I had meant to mention. I actually have a couple items that I should probably pass on. One is the donations. We've all kind of worked with some of the local community resources to take that on and coordinate it. The primary on it is United Methodist Church is kind of acting as primary on that. They're trying to kind of rein in some of the crowdsource funding things and get everything brought into one place and pointed. And so if people have questions about what do you need, that's who they can contact. Where can we take it? There are multiple drop-off points, but that's who they should contact. If I want to make a financial donation, where do I do it? How do I do it? So United Methodist Church was, excuse me, pivotal, and helping us there. The second thing I forgot to mention, and all of this has been in the release, but I just wanted to make sure you guys know this stuff. There is a candlelight vigil planned for tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Basically, they're at the intersection near the residents. We have plans to block that area off very similarly to what we did during the actual incident. We sent our guys down there today, already to talk to the residents in the affected area, and basically let them know this is what you can expect tomorrow night. Please be patient. We're also asking the public to be respectful of those adjacent property owners. We expect it to take about an hour, but we will be doing some road closures down there, and we will be restricting some parking on Nash Street around the corner. Most people will be telling them, hey, park. The Black Hills State University has said we can use the Young Center and the dirt lot for people to park in. So you can also expect that to happen.
So I got a couple last things too that, along with, like I say, the outpouring, we've been hearing from departments across the country today. And the thing that was really impressive here at the end of the day was getting a call from the chief of Rapid City, and their community is wanting to donate. And so he's going to act as a collection point for folks in Rapid City. And then their fire department said they deliver them. So I just, I can't say enough about the support.
It truly is a community event. You're going to be hard pressed to find somebody in town who's not at least minimally affected by it. Any questions or gaps we can fill in? If we can't, I'll tell you we can't. And if we can and we don't know, we can find an answer for you later.
I think it just shows the integrity of our community, of our volunteers, of our police department, of our ambulance service, the state troopers. It just shows the spirit of what we have here. And so, thank you all.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, and now we'll move on to adjourn to executive session for legal counsel regarding proposed or pending litigation or contractual matters pursuant to SDCL 1-25-3